There's a concept called egocentric bias, which basically states that you often tend to overestimate your contribution to any project. There was a research experiment that was conducted amongst authors of multi-author paper or papers in which there are multiple authors, and they were asked about what percentage did they contribute to that paper. And not surprisingly, when you added up the percentages for the different authors, it often ended up more than 100%. More often, it's more than 140%. The same research was conducted on couples living in a household where they were asked what percentage of household chores do they do. And often they tend to overestimate the percentage of their perceived contribution, and it often ended up more than 140%. So what does this show? I think this shows egocentric bias, which, like I said earlier, means that you often tend to overestimate your contribution. This could very well be explained through the concept that since you yourself are experiencing what you're doing, you are very well attuned to what you have done, you often tend to or in your head think that you contributed more than you did. And I think this leads to an important fact that people underestimate the impact that luck has had in their journey. I saw a video by Veritasium in which he explained all these concepts very, very well, called the success paradox. In one other experiment that he mentioned in the video, there was a research done on National Hockey League, NHL players, ice hockey players essentially, and they found that more than 40% of the successful pro athletes were born on Q1 or the first quarter or the beginning of the year, compared to less than 5% towards the end of the year. So that means that people who were born earlier were more likely to become professional hockey players. So what does this mean? Does this mean that all the players did not spend equal amount of hard work, getting up early in the morning, practicing, going through injuries, putting in a lot of efforts, having parents that support their goals and dreams? Is it just the people who were born early in the year? I don't think that's the case. And so this just goes to prove that the people who were born earlier in the year, it was not up to them, it is not up in their control, and they just happened to be in that position. And so we can again, time and again, see the tremendous outsized impact that luck has on every forms of professional life. Even if you take an example of wealth inequality, research has shown that people who are born in wealthy countries, in first world countries, tend to do much better than the people who are born in not so wealthy countries. For example, Burundi. Even if you are the most hardworking, most skilled, most talented person in a country like Burundi, you would come nowhere in terms of the probability of success that you would if you were born in a country like US or Europe. Again, all this shows the huge impact that luck has in the day-to-day lives of people. Even in the startup space, I think that people often underestimate the impact luck has had in their journey. And I think it is also a result of something called survivorship bias. Imagine 100 people start a particular race, and as they face each obstacle, people start falling back, people are not able to overcome it, and eventually at the end of the race, there is a first, second, third position, and so on. So the person who came first, eventually when they look back at the person who was not able to complete the race, they would think of themselves as being better than everyone else. They would think of themselves as being more hardworking, more deserving, more impactful in terms of the worldview that they have. And that's kind of unfortunate, the survivorship bias that they have. It's a little doubt that people who did not quote unquote succeed, win the race as much as others, did not put in as much effort, if not more, in many situations. And that in the world of startups is also quite relevant, where entrepreneurs who have startups that have been around for a long time, have raised a lot of funds, have succeeded, are given more priority. For example, I know for a fact that VCs prefer entrepreneurs who have had multiple exits, multiple startups in the past, with the perception that since they have had more experiences in the past, they would be more likely to succeed the next time as well. And this heavily discounts the impact that luck would have to play in their journey. And the luck would range anywhere from a customer signing a contract, an employee joining their team, them being healthy, them having the environment to succeed, thrive, and grow is often underlooked. I think one of the reasons why people underestimate the impact of luck is that it makes them feel demotivated. It makes them feel that all the hard work that they would need to do to succeed would be fruitless. And so people might tend not to endeavor or start actions that they know for a fact take a lot of effort. And people often say that, you work hard, you put in the blood and sweat, and you will succeed. And that mindset is important to for a lot of people to be motivated. But I kind of have a different view, where I believe that once you start appreciating the impact luck has had in your life, personal and professional, you tend to be more grateful. You tend to be less entitled, and you tend to treat others well. You also, once you recognize the impact luck has had, you also strive towards helping others getting more lucky, which makes you a better human and a kinder individual, which I'm a strong proponent of. So, in my opinion, luck plays 99.9999% of the probability that you would succeed, and hard work, blood and sweat, tears, overcoming, standing up after you fall down, convincing people, being a visionary, pushing yourself, upskilling yourself, all these things contribute to that 0.00001% in the probability of success. But without that 0.00001%, you would not get the 100%, you would not be successful. So instead of being demotivated by looking at the fact that, how others are succeeding, or I am better than others because my startup is doing better because I am perceived to be more successful, I think that's a wrong point of view to have. Instead, one should have gratitude and show the right amount of kindness to others, so that others may also succeed in their own endeavors.